mean, they could just use guerrilla warfare tactics, like they did with the Ewoks.
Yeah.
But we mostly get desert planets for these type scenes that emulate old time westerns.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about with this episode in particular?
I don't want it to be Star Wars: The Odd Couple, where it's Mando and Yodito the rest of the time. I want there to be an issue. I want the problem to be solved, and then I want to see Mando. The thing is about him. I want to see Mando. I want to see what's going on. It looks like he's going to be... although I understand there's a reason why we have Yodito. There's a reason why, but I want Yodito to be dropped off, the problem to be solved, and that's it. But I don't think we'll get that till the end of the series.
I don't think you'll see that till the end of the season. I don't think it'll carry into season 2 too much, maybe. But I do think you're going to get Mando and Yoda, Baby Yoda, for the rest of this season at least. And I think we're going to use that, right? That's going to be used to give us the backstory on Mando. His upbringing in the guild, in the tribe and then the guild, is going to be done through the lens of either what Baby Yoda is going through or what he sees in his flashbacks because of Baby Yoda.
And it's a very well telling of an origin story. It's something we don't see.
Right.
Or that I know of that we don't see. But it's a very original telling of an origin story of how he becomes who he becomes. Should we get that? Should we get the origin story out, piece by piece? But to be honest with you, 1/3 into the season, I'm enjoying it. There's no doubt about it. You've got me hooked. It keeps you on the toes, which is what it's supposed to do. It's keeping you guessing. It's weekly dropped. It's not all in one shot, so it allows for the cooler talk. It's business and casual, because the business, they want you hooked in, so they drop it weekly. And this is something that's new. It's Star Wars answer to what Star Trek's been putting out, but it's original in the fact that it's an A-plot, and it's a really original season 1 origin story.
Yeah. So for my final thoughts on this, I would agree with everything you just said. And take it even further, I would say every episode has upped the stakes. So you had episode 1, and you were like, all right, we're just going to meet Mando. And by the end, you're like, oh, man, that's Baby Yoda. How can this get any harder or worse? Or how can the stakes raise any more? And you find out, oh, man, it really is Baby Yoda. He uses the Force. Well, now they can't up it. I mean, he's going to have to keep him. So we have to have an episode of, like, a bounty coming up on him, so the stakes will be lower in 3. Oh, man, he gave Baby Yoda in. Oh, man, he stole Baby Yoda again. So every episode, at some point, they're going to have to, the stakes can't get higher. But so far, for the first 3 episodes, the stakes have gotten higher, higher, and higher. And I can see 4 being a little higher because they're going to put on the bounty on him in 4, right? So the stakes got higher. The action will slow down from episode 3 because it was a big battle at the end that really jumped the action portion of this episode. And then maybe 5, there's a lull in the stakes, but then 7 and 8, 6, 7, and 8, they're going to have to fly off again because we're coming to the end of the season already. I mean, we're already talking about the end of the season, and we're only 3 episodes in, but the stakes just keep climbing and climbing and climbing, and at some point they got to drop so you can build them again.
Yeah, I think you might see the drop, a drop in 8, if not 7 and 8, with a rise in 8.
Maybe.
Right? I think that's going to be...
Maybe, but... All right.
Yeah.
So, before we go, we have a great offer for you. Cuts by Magic is offering our listeners a 10% discount on any custom order with code AVENGERS. Contact Cuts by Magic by searching Facebook for Cuts by Magic, CUTSBYMAGIC. Message the page and tell them Avengers, and you'll receive a 10% discount.
Please join us on the UFP Facebook page. We hope you'll drop us a message and tell us how we're doing.
So, Tribz, Where can people find you on the interwebs when you're not stealing babies to protect them from evil empires?
Ooh. Well, when I'm not doing that on the sly, and you're not supposed to know about that because that's very clandestine.
Don't worry, no one listens to this.
Oh, when I'm not doing that, you can find me on the interwebs on Twitter at TrekFanLV. The TFL and V are capital. You can find me dropping in once in a while on the United Federation of Podcasts Facebook page. And you can find me on the Facebook page of the UFP Network. You can also find me on the Disney Aficionados page. So, Patrick, where can people find you on the internet when you're not faced mano a mano with your boss, when you know you're doing the right thing and he's coming after you?
Well, when I'm not doing that, and boy, do I do that too often, you can find me on Twitter at MagicDrop5. There's no spaces, and the 5 is a digit. You can also find me on Twitch under the same name, where I play Diablo 3 and World of Warcraft currently. And so I will be playing Diablo 4 when that comes out, and probably a little bit of Age of Empires coming up here soon once I get the I don't want to embarrass myself on Twitch, so I'm waiting till I get down the rotations. But once I get those down, I'll be streaming those live too. And that's a real-time strategy game, and probably some Warcraft 3 when that releases. You can also find me on the UFP page, and right now that's about it, man. I went from having a lot of things to do to having very little things to do, which is kind of nice.
The idle hands are the devil's workshop. Idle hands are the devil's workshop. Just remember that.
Please go to iTunes and leave us a star rating and a written review. That will help others find our podcast.
At this time, we would like to thank our executive producers who make this all possible: Brandon-Shea, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson.
I don't thank Brandon.
I was going to mention that, but I wanted you to get it back at him because this would be the episode
I don't
for
thank
his
Brandon. You can thank Brandon. I don't thank Brandon. But
and now that we are recording this and it is on audio, I do want more of you, because if I have less of you, then it's me talking about this. And I don't think anybody would want to listen to just me and my ramblings.
Brandon does. He wants less of Pat. And after you've listened to this podcast, we hope you'll drop us a message and tell us how we are doing. Keep those mouse ears open for more Mickey's Marvels. And besides, who wouldn't want to be a kid again?
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.